So today I'm watching WATP. I was trying to be very diplomatic and very nice. And I had a great time with him, Adam Bush, his wife, Jenny Jingles, during the content hotel, right? They got there. Karl admittedly barely came out of his room because he was diligently looking at clips to pull up of Steel Toe. Okay. As if that's what this would be about. Their grave mistake is that he was embarrassed that they were the one live event. Sorry. And it probably hurt their feelings that this show, the one with me, Gino, Kumia, Chrissy, it was all people there just to have fun and the stand-up show. Everybody did great. They even said it on their show. And they were there. It was very packed in the room, but Karl is used to Patty Melty, Hackamania deal, like where he thinks that he's living in this world that he thinks that everybody gives a shit about Aaron Imholt, okay? And it just wasn't the event for that. So, I mean, for Christ's sake, Gino fell asleep during the event. I don't know if you saw this. He was embarrassed that there weren't that many ticket sales for it, and Eugene fell asleep.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Like, I don't associate with the bottom feeders of the internet.
Yeah, instead he's just like.
So it's really not. It's not okay. Listen, I'm not gonna lie about it like they would do. Gino was exhausted, and I didn't think that it was like poor. I mean, there were people there. I think they were just like, why are we watching videos of a man in Minnesota? Like that's what it was. So then, and again, you could see them, and they're going to complain about the setup and blah blah blah. We didn't have long enough cords, and Gino is asleep, and but I was there rallying with them, like, wait, this is fun. Like, it's fine. Like, I made some jokes. Yes, I shouted out from the audience. It's not a heckle. It made the show better, in my opinion. But it's just not the place to come and like do this like weird steel toe material. And I could tell Karl was getting flustered. But his biggest mistake was Karl goes, and I'm sure you guys know that you heard this. So Anthony Cumia he was supposed to be on their show. And that's, Karl just has a big erection for Anthony Cumia. My God. I mean, you would think. And Anthony, is actually a broadcaster. And
does Anthony know that?
Well, if he did know it, then I think that he would have ran out of there faster to go to a different event. But no, Karl he just loves Anthony. And who doesn't love Anthony? But Anthony could do both. He, killed on stage and is a broadcaster. I think that little Karl looks up to him. And I think he was very disappointed after he sat in his room all day pulling up clips of Steel Toe and Stuttering John that Anthony wasn't going to be there. So Chrissy goes, how about I get Rich to come on the show? And then Rich goes, oh, I'll just have to see how I feel after I golf. And then, but that's just Rich Voss. Okay. He's a comedian. And then Karl goes, you, we don't need you. Right. Because a group full of people, the only tickets you probably sold, Karl, for that event were people wanting to see Anthony. So you would think that he would go, all right, good. Let Rich come on. Maybe I'll veer off of my little clips about Steel Toe a little bit. But no. Then Rich, who was just making a joke, I don't think he had any intention of not coming in. He walks in, Mom, and Karl goes, and Rich Voss is a great comedian, a legend. Mm-hmm. And he walks in, people are like, yay, yay, yay. Karl goes, you don't you dare, Rich. Don't you dare. And then Rich sits down and he goes, maybe 5 minutes. And then Karl goes, all right, ladies and gentlemen, Rich Voss, everyone, like, get the fuck out. I must stay with my clips.
Oh my God.
So right after that, yeah, which is a major misstep. Just get off of your clips for a second and you have Rich Voss here. Like, this could have saved your shitty show. It could have saved it. And I was trying to be nice on Monday. All right. But Karl was the one that said it was poorly attended. And I was trying to be nice, and it was. What I might have been the only one in the room who knew anything about Aaron. Everybody else is going, what are we talking about? Chrissy didn't even know, and she does great because she's a comedian. And then she went away as well. And I'm not saying the show was not, they did what they do, but I think that the crowd was like, okay, what is this? And it was awkward. It was awkward. After that, Chrissy and I go outside to kvetch. Rich walks up to us and says, I've never in my life been, when I walk into a podcast, people don't go, oh, let's veer off what we were going to do. Sit down. Let's be funny. But Karl isn't a comedian. Karl wants to impress like people, I don't know, in his little boxes in the Dabbleverse. And that just wasn't what it was about.
I don't know anything about him. I've just been introduced to him recently, like when you were on with all those morons, and he was kind of sitting back while they beat you up, but he was like, had a dumb look on his face. Yes, and he just sat there and didn't say word one in your defense or even be nice to you. He just had that dumb smile on his face.
He's like, oh, I don't know what to say.
And you kept saying you like him, and he's kind of a friend. He's no friend.
No, he right, and he hates that I won that entire thing.
Yeah.
It was 6 against 1, and I won. It was me.
Seems, oh my God! He seems, just from what I hear or know or see, he seems very insecure.
Clearly insecure. Thank you, Michaeline.
Yeah,
Very.
I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that.
So that is exactly what the point I was going to get to. So I was trying to be nice. I said I had fun. I didn't fall asleep. It was fine. I was there for about half of it. I chimed in, blah, blah, blah. I was having a ball. Like, it's great. I'm here, whatever. So then I walk outside with Chrissy. Rich Voss walks up to us after he was shooed away. And he says, what the f- is that? I can't believe I've never in my life been shooed away from a podcast. When I walk into a podcast, people veer off of their little clips and go, yeah, let's have fun. Like, what are you doing? And I said, he's not a comic. He is thinking that people know who this man from Minnesota is. He's like, and it brought the thought to my mind where it's like, if Rich Voss walks into Compound Media, do you think they're going to go, no, Rich? If Rich Voss walked into a Kumia show, do you think they go, no, Rich? If Rich Voss walked into a Legion of Skanks show, they go, no. We have to talk about Aaron Imholt now and Stuttering John. Get out. No.
Sorry, we don't have time for you.
We don't have time for you. It would never happen.
Right.
So, and it was an embarrassment. And I'm not making it up. He literally came up to us and was like, I've never been treated like this. So, of course, after the fact, I'm like, that was a failure. Of course, they rag on Aaron so much. I have to call Aaron and tell him he shooed Rich Voss away. And it was embarrassing. And I wouldn't have just gone around and said that. I didn't say it to anybody, but all they do is cover Aaron. So I'm just laughing about it, like, I can't even believe what I just witnessed. And then I have the man telling me, I've never been treated like that. What the f is he doing? That's bizarre. So then I go out to the bar, and Karl is sitting there with Adam Bush and whatever, some other twerp that tried to talk to me about steel toe. I'm like, you need to relax. Like, this is not you. It's going to be okay. And Karl's sitting there. He looks so mom. This is an hour after Karl's little poorly sold podcast about Aaron and Stuttering John where he literally shooed Rich Voss away. So I sit down next to him and he almost had tears in his eyes, Mom. And before I could even get a word out, he said, I know you're going to go back to Kevin Brennan and tell him all about this. Kevin Brennan, which, well, now I am.
Of
Well,
course.
now Kevin will hear it. That was not, I was just going to say, good show, buddy. He, with tears in his eyes, Mom, I just sat down and like, I was about to say, good show, man. Like, no. And he went, I know what you're going to do. You're going to go tell Kevin Brennan about all of this. And it was a disgrace and it was poorly sold and nobody was there. And I went, bro, I had a ball. Like, I'm not going to go tell Kevin.
You're not that person. They're what the
and he was literally.
But do I understand this correctly that he is saying mean shit about you now?
Oh, now he's just saying mean shit about the content house,
No.
how hotel, how, Adam Bush couldn't get there easily enough. And
I feel like I heard that.
Yes. And how Mersh was right. And here's the good things and the bad things. And but he couldn't say, but then they had to come and watch our show and he couldn't say because it would be a lie that any of us did poorly on stage. You did poorly on stage, Karl. And then Adam Bush had some choice words to say.
Who's Adam Bush? That good-looking man?
From Buffy. Well, I was excited.
I never watched that show.
Me neither.
Oh yeah, he looks pointy-faced and maybe not in a good way.
Right. So he's a little older now, but I had a nice time with Karl, with his wife, with Adam Bush. Then today they have to cope. And it was like Adam's favorite things about and least favorite things about the content hotel. This is what they have to do. They have to shit on it and also kind of say nice things. It was like Adam said something about I had really nice conversation with Adam and it was ridiculous of what he said. Like Keanu's like a schizophrenic homeless woman. But then after 5 minutes, and then she said in 5 minutes, like some really poignant things. And I was excited to stream with her. And yes, it was like 4 a.m. and they were trying to cool off the computer and we never got to it. But I'd say the same thing here. So that I thought that was kind of funny. But then when they lie and say, well, then Keanu and Gino, if you bring up Mersh, can't even remember what he said. No, if you bring up Melton, they spit on the ground.
Garrett and Steve even just said,
we didn't bring them up at all. Him up at all. Not at all.
He's just another liar.
I know.
But if you hang out with them in real life and try and be nice, and they're comfortable in their boxes, but they can't make eye contact. They all have some form of autism.
I was nothing but nice to them. I was nothing but
always, Keanu. You're always gracious. Always.
Right. And I knew that they were going to bring me up a bunch. And I'm going like, well, that's just a bold-faced lie that me and Gino spit on the ground. And when he asked me, like, I do remember this because we had a conversation about it. And I said, this is what I said, what's your problem with Patrick Melton? I said, he says violent things about me. His fans say violent things to me. I realize, and I know I said this to him. I'm like, I realize that I used to have an OnlyFans. I've had jokes about it for years. I didn't say, well, he told people to Google my nudes. I realized that assholes make them on the internet. I didn't expect Adam Bush to just bold-faced lie about us. For the benefit of Karl, who is embarrassed by his shitty show, you're going to tell Kevin Brennan about this, aren't you?
They're going to say you made that up.
Yeah, I didn't make it up. Haven't I been saying it? It was insane. It was insane. Before I even said a word, you're going to tell Kevin Brennan about this, aren't you? I said, he's like, yeah, you're going to read I gave Karl a hug before he left the last night. And
Incredible.
I said, I promise I'll never read your text again. He said, you're going to tell Kevin Brennan, and I know you'll read my text to him, so I'll never text you again. Karl, hamburger. You're dismissed. Yeah. You had a great time. You got paid. We all did. They took care of us. We got paid very well. We're sorry that your little podcast about Aaron didn't go the way you wanted. And I will be telling Kevin Brennan about it now. So
He might already know.
I'm sure he knows. That's the thing about Kevin, Karl. He is really, really butthurt about Kevin Brennan. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But again, like I said before, I don't try and be friends with everybody, but I try and see where people are coming from.
You do.
And then when you with me enough after I've been nothing but nice. Kevin is always Kevin. I've known Kevin 10 years. Karl, there's no amount of you trying to convince me that he's not a good guy because he says you have club feet and that your wife is your mom. I'm sorry. What do you want from me? I looked at your feet. They don't seem like they're clubs. So that is succinctly what I was trying to say. You offended Rich Voss, which he's not actually offended. He doesn't give a about you, obviously. Was trying to do you a favor. He told us that. Then you looked tears in your eyes at the bar. I was just going to come up to you and say nice things. And you said, you're going to tell Kevin Brennan about this, aren't you? And then you decided to shit on the content hotel. And we're sorry that it's just not, maybe it's just not for you. It's just not for you, you know?